The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Union Broadcasting Inc., ESPN 1510, or its employees. The host is solely responsible for the on-air content.
This is KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit digital resource produced by Charitable Communications. We'll tell the stories of Kansas City nonprofits and the people behind them. KC Cares is proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis.
And I'm Bobby Keys.
And I'm so glad to be back together again.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
Maybe that should be our theme song. New theme song.
You were off in Alaska last show. I was here, and you were off in Alaska. You were saving polar bears, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing place, and there are nonprofits there who are trying to do great things with climate change.
I can imagine.
Despite, a UN report had come out recently and talks about the terrible condition of our seas, et cetera, which it is. There is actually one glacier that is still growing, at least that I'm aware of. And it's in Alaska, and that we went to see this glacier.
Whoa.
It was pretty magnificent.
So they actually grow.
They can grow.
See, you don't hear news about that.
No.
And even science. I don't even remember that in science.
Right. Most are shrinking. But this one is still growing, and it's pretty massive. So it was really cool.
You know what else was growing?
What?
Nonprofits in Kansas City.
Absolutely. Recently, we had David Renz on. The update is over 9,000, 11,000 if you include the religious affiliated worship community. And we have one nonprofit here today that has such a passion and from a very personal spot. And we have Scott Wilson. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you very much for having me.
We're so glad to have Scott here. And he is the founder and father, we'll explain that, of Noah's Bandage Project.
Yeah.
Welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
What an amazing things you are doing in our community, and started from a very hard spot. Would you mind sharing a little bit about Noah?
Absolutely. So the founder of Noah's Bandage Project is actually Noah, my son. He was diagnosed with cancer when he was 6 years old, and he found himself covered in the hospital with Band-Aids. But they weren't the cool, fun Band-Aids that he liked. It was the boring brown ones. On occasion, he would find a Sesame Street Band-Aid, but Sesame Street just wasn't enough for him.
Wasn't his wheelhouse.
He was 6 years old. So for him, Sesame Street was, come on, that's a baby, right? And so one day, this is back in, he was diagnosed in April of 2014, and within 2 weeks, he's just covered in Band-Aids from all the treatments, the shots, the biopsies, the spinal taps, all the things that come with kids who are fighting the fight through childhood cancer. And the nurse came in to give him a shot, proceeded to put another brown Band-Aid on, and he said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, do you have any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Band-Aids?" Like Leonardo was his guy. And the nurse said, "No, unfortunately, we've just got the brown ones, or I can get you the Sesame Street one." He goes, "No, it's okay, I'll just take a brown one." But that moment, you sort of saw this trigger start going in his mind, and fast forward about 6 weeks, he comes downstairs. We're out of the hospital at this point. We'd been in there for a couple of weeks. He's on a little break before he starts his chemo up again. And he had found a big blue bucket up in his room, and he dumped out all the toys, and he made a sign out of crayon and a white sheet of paper. He stuck that poster on the side of the bucket, and it said, "If you have any Band-Aids, put them in this basket for Children's Mercy." And he came downstairs to my wife and says, "Mom, I want to collect cool, fun Band-Aids for the hospital." And that since began Noah's Bandage Project. And it's been phenomenal to see the community just rally around this little boy, who was 6 years old, fighting his own fight, fighting his own battle with cancer. And yet he was thinking of other people and want to help, and how simple a little box of Band-Aids, in this case, was to help and spread awareness and bring hope. So that's how we started. We can go on and talk more about all the things that we do, but that's how the Noah's Bandage Project came to being, little boy.
And unfortunately, Noah lost his battle.
Yeah. So fast forward 14 months, and Noah was going through treatment. He had actually been proclaimed to be in remission, and he had beaten his cancer, Ewing sarcoma, which is a whole nother topic. It's a rare bone cancer, but he had gone through the 14 months, collecting Band-Aids the whole way, and we went out as a family for my wife's birthday party on June 26th of 2015. And it was a great day celebrating. The next morning, he woke up and had a bruise on his leg. And he had finished treatment, so he was done. but we knew that something wasn't right. And so we took him back to the hospital and said, hey, he's got this big bruise. He probably needs a blood transfusion. They did the typical, blood work, and they came back and said, your son has leukemia now. Oh. And a secondary cancer that ultimately came from the treatments, the chemo that we gave him to make him better. And so it exposed us to the realities. When we had been living, the pediatric cancer world for 14 months and seeing all the side effects, the additional illnesses that come with just your body being, beat to a pulp with this chemo. And they told us early on, there was a small chance that something else could happen. But then the culmination of this came when we realized that our son just beat one cancer only to be, diagnosed with another because of the treatments.
Wow.
And all culminated because we, at the end of the day, don't know enough about childhood cancer. And so 3 days later, on June 30th, our son passed away from not the first cancer, but the second cancer. And so, my wife and I decided when he passed that we were going to continue on his project. We're going to continue supporting kids and bringing smiles through the cool, fun Band-Aids. But we also wanted to start raising money so that we could fund cancer research for kids, because that's ultimately why Noah passed away. It's because we don't know enough about the drugs that we give our kids. We don't know enough about all the different variations of childhood cancer. And at the end of the day, only 4% of federal funding goes to cancer research, and that results in all these side effects that you hear about. And so we wanted to, in the name of our son and in his honor, carry on his project and see what we can do to help raise money to fund cancer research. And so that's what we do. We collect cool, fun Band-Aids, and we raise money. And all the money that we raise stays right here in Kansas City, goes to Children's Mercy to fund cancer research for kids.
That is, that's just something you don't. Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that, and that's something, that you just don't hear about is the research to find out, or people that talk about the side effects, and then, that's just, I have family members that passed, and I saw what chemo did and radiation, but you don't often hear about nonprofits that are kind of maybe stem from that, in a kind of sense, sort of, sense of way, in a kind of way. But with that, like, how how has it expanded? How does it create kind of like an awareness for the different types of chemo? 'Cause there's so many different types of chemo out there, right? And they all affect you a different way.
Yeah.
Well, how have you seen that kind of progress? I guess do they do is there like research for your DNA is like the DNA rate research?
Well, so unfortunately, there's not a ton that we know about the childhood cancer. So you have cancers, you have adult cancers, you have childhood cancers, and the majority of the funding, 96% of it, goes to adult cancers. And so that means for the childhood cancers, which if you get all scientific, the structure of these tumors are different than that of adults. So we need different treatments. But over the last 20 years, there's only been 3 new chemo drugs that have come out for kids. Those 3 are all for leukemia, which is only one of the 16 types of childhood cancer. And so there's all these other 15 types that haven't had no real progress or improvements in the last 20 years. And so the research that we fund is trying to target those smaller cancers, the Ewing sarcomas like Noah had, the AML leukemia, not the ALL, but the AML, which is what ultimately took Noah's life. Yeah. And to try to go get awareness and funding so that we can learn more about those and bring some of the breakthroughs that we see in the adult cancers, breast cancer and colon cancer, things like that do have higher survival rates now because of all the research. So the answer, unfortunately, is no, there hasn't been a whole lot of progress, but we hope to make a difference in that, and and in partnership with many other charities that focus on childhood cancer.
I was looking up to see who else. I know Braden's Hope, and we've had Delise on, and there are a number of them. But it just seems, the mountain is high, and you're just going up. But we applaud you for your efforts. So, tell us, in Noah's name now, how do you go about doing this? I think you have a big event coming up.
We do. So we do fundraisers and we do Bandage drives, and Bandage drives go on really all across the United States now. We have pretty much every week there's a drive going on somewhere. We're getting emails from people
fantastic.
in California, Iowa, Nebraska, whatever, asking us how to do it. So those are always going. But then we also do various fundraising events, and we've had some incredible support from our local community, our Kansas City Royals and Sporting KC. They've gotten involved. Danny Duffy has been just an awesome advocate. That's been a big promoter of Noah's Bandage Project. He met Noah when Noah was going through the fight. He met him through, crazily, Eric Hosmer, who had also met Noah. Eric was Noah's favorite player. And so
I remember that. I remember seeing stories.
Yeah, and so through those relationships, Danny has, partnered with us, and he did the Strikeout Childhood Cancer campaign for 2 years in a row, where every strikeout he threw, he donated money. And then this year he did the Double with Duffy campaign. The Royals Charities has joined in and helped. So we have, a lot of funding comes through those avenues. But then we do events every year. So we have a 5K in the spring, but we're planning for right now our golf tournament, which is October 18th. It's coming up. It's a costume golf tournament. It's so much fun.
Oh, how fun.
That's really awesome.
So we get people dressed up as superheroes, as Harlem Globetrotters, as whatever it may be, and they come out and have a fun day of playing golf at Falcon Lakes over in Baser, Kansas. Spots are still open. Sponsorship opportunities still open if anyone's out there who's interested. All the details can be found on our website. But we do these events. We also did an event in July called Volley Llama. It was the first annual 810. I saw their signs here. They're all a part of it as well. It is a celebrity pickleball tournament, and it was the first annual. We'll do it every year going forward, but it was a huge success and a lot of fun. But we try to just have fun when we do events. We don't want to, we don't really do the galas where you come and dress all up and go sit and have a nice dinner. We try to do events where people get involved and they do something.
Yeah.
And we'll do label parties where we get all the Band-Aids that we collect, and we'll have volunteers, hundreds of them, come out and label, which is take a box of Band-Aids on the side, put a mailing label that says from Noah's Bandage Project, where it is, so that when they go all over the world, they know where they came from. And we just have music playing, we have snacks, we have treats, and we just have a fun environment, because at the end of the day, Noah's Bandage Project was started by a 6-year-old boy who wanted nothing else just to have fun. And he couldn't do that all the time, but he wanted to help other kids have fun. And so that's what we try to do with whatever we do, is have a lot of fun, raise some money, and bring hope.
I love the heart of a kid. Bobby and I have talked about this a long time, and it's amazing when children who may see it in their parents, but something inside their soul says, well, gosh, I want to help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what Noah did.
Yeah.
And how incredible that you carry that on.
Yeah.
You guys are stronger than I think I would be to, have to deal with the loss of your child, but yet, he lives through this really wonderful endeavor, and you're trying to make a difference for other kids.
Yeah. You meet so many amazing kids. Noah was one of 35,000 kids that are fighting this fight in the U.S. alone. And every child that we meet that's going through the struggle, they smile and they light up, and they're so amazing. And yet they're fighting a fight that none of them deserve. They didn't do a single thing to cause cancer to come upon them. And so my wife and I just see Noah in all these kids that we meet, and we feel closer to Noah by bringing smiles to them and knowing that if they're given a chance, look what Noah did in 7 years. Mm-hmm. Imagine if he had 14 or 21, and all these kids that we meet, they're just as amazing and awesome. Let's give them a chance to do something amazing with their life. And it fuels us, and we just, we've met so many amazing kids that we want to see have a long, healthy life, and we know that Noah is with us when we do it and smiling and cheering us on, so we keep doing it.
I don't want to miss the opportunity. You said you guys need volunteers. So how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so Facebook, Noah's Bandage Project Facebook page. We always post like our label events or our activities that we do. We need volunteers. We'll go and put a post out there, a sign-up genius, have them sign up that way. But we always have events throughout the year that we're looking for help. And it's a lot of, anyone can label a Band-Aid. We have families that come out with kids, and the kids are putting mailing labels on the sides of these boxes, and so it's a lot of fun.
You have had 230,000 plus boxes of bandages donated. And I think on your website it equated to like almost 6 million Band-Aids. That's a lot of Band-Aids.
Yeah, over 250,000 boxes now. We just had a big old shipment from Olathe Schools, just did a big bandage drive. We had 54 schools in Olathe doing a bandage drive. And from now, our total is now over 250,000 boxes. Those go all over the world to kids fighting cancer, hospitals, orphanages, wherever we can bring a smile.
I was going to say, how do you decide where it goes?
So we have a couple partnerships. So one of which is Shadow Buddies.
We love Marty.
Yeah, Marty's incredible. We met her during Noah's fight, and so every cancer buddy they send gets a box of Band-Aids. So those literally go in
wonderful.
15 countries. But then we also partner with like Giving the Basics downtown. We give Operation Breakthrough, a variety of we give them to Children's Mercy, other hospitals. And so we just have a bunch of different distribution channels that when we get them, we pack them up, we ship them out, and send them all across the world.
So can folks just start their own bandage drive?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you'd like to know they're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go to our webpage, noahsbandageproject.com. There's a link at the top that says you want to host a drive, and you click that. It comes to us. We send you all the details that you need, answer any questions you have along the way, and then tell you what to do with the bandage when they're done. The biggest thing for us is to keep track of how many you collect so that we can continue to build our number of how many boxes are being collected under this program, and then we'll communicate with you that way. You can also donate to our fundraising campaigns online. We've so far in 4 years we started collecting money at right when Noah passed about 4 years ago, and we've been able to donate through the incredible generosity of the community $700,000 to fund cancer research through Children's Mercy, and we're going to make another big donation here at our 5K in April. So that number hopefully will just keep growing and keep trying to give an opportunity for these researchers to find that thing that they need in order to make a difference.
We should put a Band-Aid on or send a Band-Aid somewhere and then try to trace it, and say, if you got this Band-Aid, reach back out to Noah's Bandage Project.
There you go. Yeah.
Incredible stuff that you're doing. And thank you for your efforts and your bravery and your courage to do something, even in with the loss of Noah. He lives on, and that's tremendous. So check out noahsbandageproject.com. They have all kinds of events, all kinds of good things that you can do. Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me be part of this. Thanks.
Inspired by Ewan, Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behaviour through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food. Cha-ching. And $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted. Which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behaviour. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Jamie McMurray here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. Want to make a difference? It's simple. Be responsible. Plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice, helping nonprofits survive and thrive. I am Bobby Keys.
And I'm Ruth Bombigas.
And we're back. We're back with more nonprofits
and great stories to tell.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean,
the
like
stories
awesome. Noah's Bandage and what to me is intriguing is just how things are created out of passion. Like with businesses, things are created out of necessity. There's a necessity, but with nonprofits, there's so much more. It's passion, right? So I guess the movement seems to be a lot more powerful within the community when you have people who are operating from passion. That's kind of
as our next guest is.
Exactly.
Zeke Crozier. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
How are you, Zeke?
Good. I've had the privilege of knowing Zeke for a little while.
Oh, okay.
Zeke has taken an endeavor that was profit and gone the nonprofit way.
Correct.
With handicapping. But we're going to talk about first what handicapping is. And then I want to get into a little bit about why you made the decision to go a nonprofit way.
Sure.
Can you share your story and then how that transitioned into what handicapping is?
How much time do we have?
A year. A year.
It's quite an extensive story, but it's the reality of I was in the military for 9 years. I was injured in my helicopter crash. I was knocked out. I was unconscious. I was in a coma for a couple weeks. Long story short, summarized here. I had to relearn how to walk and talk, basically. Oh, wow. The miracle wasn't that I survived. I think the miracle was of how well I've recovered from everything I went through. So, traumatic brain injury, and then of course I've got all the secondary things that went along with that. My whole left side was basically paralyzed, and I'm left-hand dominant. I had to relearn everything. I mean, I'm still relearning things, but teaching myself. I believe things happen for a reason. I think this has put life in perspective for me. I could teach my kids, interact with my kids. I can, relate and get on the level of other people as well in many different aspects. Between my memory loss, my mobility, things I struggle with, speaking is difficult. I'm extremely transparent with people and open. I don't have a filter, so that may be part of the deal too. But people who can just connect with me, relate. So rather than look like a punk kid, when people see me, they think because I look younger. That's why I grow the beard, so it kind of fills in a little bit. But it just allows me to get personal with another individual that may look at me one way, but then when they start talking to me, go, oh man, they break down the wall a little bit and go, okay, I can connect with this guy, and then I'm real. So art became a lifestyle for me, okay? So I had no purpose. I was retired at 27 years old. And so I never imagined having a business called Handicappin', never imagined playing with bottle caps either. But it's a new concept. From what I've found, I haven't found anybody in the world that does it like this. And so rather than smashing bottle caps and overlapping them, I cut them with snips and needle nose pliers, and I manipulate the bottle cap. So I can make anything and everything, and it became a purpose. People it became popular. People looked at it and go, hey, this is neat. How do I get one of these? And so it's thriving. It continues to morph and become something even bigger and better than I ever dreamed of. But I know we're going to get into other things too, but to speed it up a little bit, I was restricted on what I could make, things like that. Being retired and on disability, you can't make. There's a threshold of money and things like that. You have to stay below, and people can't work for you, things like that. And so, and I wasn't really about money anyway. It was just having a life and a purpose. And so, and the more I interact with other people and understand the purpose in life and saying I need to do something with my life. What am I going to do to get out of that dark hole? This was my purpose, and so I want to get that to somebody else. I think I'm blessed to have what I have, and this was here for a reason. This is my life now for a reason, and I feel like I'm supposed to share that with somebody else. So I want to help other people.
These are magnificent pieces of art. We'll share some of those in our social media. I mean, you've designed all kinds of things. I would have never have thought that bottle caps could become some of what you've created. Maybe share a little bit about the inspiration for what you create. Obviously, if somebody calls you and says, I want an American flag, that's one thing. But you've also done some kind of free art.
I think, and I never considered myself an artist until recently, to be honest, because I'm humbled by my own creations that I come up with. I'll finish it, I'll look back and go, wow, where did this come from? That's why I feel like this is a gift that's been given to me. And so there's some customers will say, hey, you're free, do whatever you want. And then I'll try to find out their backstory, like what inspires them, what they're like, why they want to do this, why they want to get a project, who it's for. And so it's just the things that I've come up with. It's humbling to me. I don't know, I guess I'll leave, I'll think about it, I'll stare at a project for a while and just think. And I just believe it'll come to me, and it does. It's crazy how that works. How it just happens. And I feel like it's a testament to my belief that things happen for a reason.
You started as a business, and now you got your official nonprofit status. Congratulations! That's small.
That was difficult.
Right.
And it's still going difficult. It's still a difficult process.
Why did you decide to go the nonprofit route?
It eliminated many things that I was working on into one. So again, I couldn't make a certain amount of money. Again, it wasn't all about the money anyway. But it's nice to pay for material, things like that. So I had income restrictions. I have, which is still the process. I have restrictions on, I couldn't have employees. And a lot of what I do is I do a lot of charity work. People, I've had police officers that were wounded in the line of duty, and family members would call me up and say, hey, can you donate anything? And I would donate it for free, okay? And that's what I want to do. I want to help others like that, okay? Well, that affects, that right there, that's out of my pocket. Like I'm donating a couple $100.
Yeah.
And so as much as I enjoy doing that and helping someone else, I started to take a hit on my account. And I'm like, this isn't smart business. So it just made sense. If I move to a nonprofit, now I can be funded. Mm-hmm. People could donate. I can have people as employees at that point, but those employees could also be people that are looking for a purpose. So I feel like I could share that with someone else, and then they feel like they have a sense of purpose as well. So now I can make more art. And the concept is to bring people in that are looking for a purpose, allow art therapy, any type of art, not just bottle cap art, any type of art, give them something to do, feel like they have a life, but also connect with each other, right? So let's say the Brain Injury Association of Kansas City, right? You get a group of people that they're all going to come in, and people with brain injuries come in, they all sit down, they connect. Some that they've never even met, right? Now they're working on motor skill, like things like sorting bottle caps, but also talking, communicating, interacting, and talking about their experiences, what they've done differently, things like that. So not just brain injury, not just veterans, but anyone of any category, give them a safe environment where they feel comfortable. So,
how are you getting up and rolling with this? I mean, how are people connecting with you, and where do you go to kind of do art together?
So I just acquired a space at the Interurban Art House downtown Overland Park.
Oh, wow. Great! That's
I've
fantastic.
Got a studio space. There's a commons area right there where I can once I get to that point, I can have classes, things like that. Very welcoming area. Many artists in there already that are incredible. I've connected just being in the public. I've been in the public eye, but now I'm up close and personal and interacting, and I have a space where people can walk through and see my art rather than looking at pictures online. But
right.
It's a process. It's still difficult. There's so many things that have to be checked off the list. But I've got a place where people can go now, and hopefully eventually start holding programs, maybe even classes. Starting it small where I can bring people in and start this interaction. I've got a website again. It's gonna be converted over now. Hopefully by next week, it will be up and running.
Handy Cappin.
It's Handy, not I, but Cappin.com is the website. The best places to go right now would be social media, Facebook and Instagram. The handle is Handy Cappin, which those online for social media is HANDY-CAPPIN. So the best two. I've got a Twitter account, but I tell you what, until I find somebody else that can run that social media, I'm not a tweeter at all.
It takes a lot of effort, and you're not the first nonprofit organization to be challenged with that. I mean,
right.
There's a lot of stuff out there, that to try to keep up with it. So, if you go to Zeke's or Handy-Cappin.
Yes, HANDY-Cappin.
You can see your latest artistic piece.
I update it almost every day, yes.
Well, it's a new KU one, which I think is great.
Yeah,
Rock Chalk, and you did video, so folks can go there and see what you're up to. What, as you've gone through this process of becoming an artist, what have been some of the challenges that you've had to face, and how have you gotten help? I think there's value for our listeners to see what you've done, and maybe they can take some advice.
It's difficult. It's difficult to remember all the things I've done, but life is a battle. Remembering that someone has it worse. That's how I've always looked at things. Even though on the days where I feel like I've got it the worst, I have to stop and remember somebody has it worse than I do. But you can't discount your own struggles, and I'm going through a process right now. Again, it's never ending. There's a stigma that physical injuries are worse than mental injuries or disabilities. I can relate to both. I've had both, and right now I'm deeply struggling with the invisible wounds, mental health, PTSD, depression, anxiety, my traumatic brain injury. I mean, many of them are alike, but many of them are serious, and so you never know what somebody else is going through. So being kind is a wonderful thing, for no reason at all. Just be kind. I tell that to my kids every day. Be kind. Never stop trying. That's one thing that I continue to do. But it's okay to ask for help too. I'm asking for help right now. It's something I'm personally experiencing and dealing with. Go ahead.
Have you, and maybe I missed this, have you found another group of individuals that that you relate to, that you maybe are all into art and just kind of get together and that are maybe ex-military, and just concentrate on that? Because I know you're an artist, right? Yeah, obviously.
He's an artist, a veteran, a dad,
and but is there a group of veterans who have suffered traumatic brain injury and maybe who are into art, and like a kind of like a coalition? Because it seems like that's an outlet as well.
It is, and I'm always looking for an outlet to help. But here's the cool thing is, and I don't want to isolate myself, but I take pride in being unique and different, and so I don't latch on to one group at all. I want to latch on to every group.
Yeah.
I'm like the guy that looks for the person that has a disability. Like, let me see something wrong with you, like that you struggle with, right? Let me see something that's not the norm, and let me talk to you about it, because I can say, hey man, I see that. Guess what? Like, maybe you forget something. Hey, I forget stuff too.
Yeah.
All right. what is your struggle? So I just want to connect with somebody else, and I want to help them. Yeah. Helping other people helps me. That's my biggest thing I would say is take from this is that helping someone else helps me. That's why with veterans they say, don't thank me for my service. If you want to thank me, I appreciate your support. Okay, because guess who you're helping when you say thank you? You're helping yourself, right? You come to me and say thank you for your service. Who did that do the most for? That does it for you. So when you say something kind to somebody else or want to help them or serve them in any way whatsoever, that person's helping themselves too. That's the goal in life anyway. So I don't take offense to that. I appreciate it. I'm thankful for the support, and I just want to reach more people. So I'm trying to get to that next level to where I can actually serve people and give them direction, give them a purpose that they're seeking,
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Bottom line, your art is out of bottle caps. Where do they come from, and do you need more?
Yeah.
And I kind of know the answer to part of that.
So
that Zeke shared.
It used to be when I drank more, obviously, was I supported my own habit, but I don't drink much anymore. I went to restaurants, bars, things like that, and I had some. But then a couple years ago, I had a guy call me up from South Carolina and said, "Hey, I hear I need some bottle caps." He was a destruction company where they, recycle glass and aluminum, things like that. So he had a pallet of 700 pounds of bottle caps. It was a lot. And so
that's a lot of bottle caps.
His brother did shipping, things like that. So they shipped it to me for free. So I've got too many bottle caps. I'll give you some if you want some. But that's part of the deal, is that could be something that people could be working toward and like volunteering whenever they come in. So no, I don't need bottle caps right now. I will once I grow. But I'm good to go, right? Unless you follow social media and I'm saying, hey, I need this specific bottle cap, because when you order your art and you want a custom type of bottle cap, I'll get you that. So because it's isolated for exactly what you want, your customized project. So
that's gonna be pretty tedious.
It is, but I like options. People
right?
like options, and so every single piece that I make is unique.
Yeah.
If I even make 2 duplicate designs, like 2 KUs, right? You might use Bud Light. You might want Sprite, and the blue one. You see what I'm saying? Like everything is custom, and I can make my own bottle caps too. I can put a custom image on the bottle cap.
So you don't need the bottle caps. What do you need from folks? How
can
we help you?
Yeah, how can we help?
So I need. It's a nonprofit now, and I've got to grow that. So we know how that works. Funding for sure. For me to help somebody else, I need to be funded as well. Take care of this. So I've got art for sale. It's not up on the website yet. Social media, that's where you can find it. I can share all the pieces that are for sale for sure. Custom pieces, if you want to order some art, send me a message and we'll talk about it. I've got an email address as well, but social media is the way to go. Or give me a call and we'll talk about it. I can meet with you however we want to do it. Other than that, we accept donations and funding will create the safe environment, space, and then it'll also help launch programs in the classes for where I want to get to. I should have it up on the website, hopefully, in the next few days.
So stay tuned. We'll post.
Yes.
Give us updates. We'll share that with everyone. It's incredible the journey you've taken, and I think you really summarized it well, but minimized what you've gone through, which has been tremendous. And the fact that you are now on the other side of it and are saying, what's my next step,
right,
is very exciting. So anything that we can do at Casey Cares to help you, let us know.
I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
Well, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control of my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
I'm Howie Mandel. Did you know attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in adults is a real and treatable medical disorder? I know because I am one of the estimated 10 million adults in the U.S. who have ADHD. The symptoms of ADHD, inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity make it difficult to pay attention and focus, be organized, complete tasks, and maintain relationships. I've been diagnosed with ADHD. In my life, I've often misplaced things and have found it difficult to sit down and read a script for work or even have a conversation. You know, the kind when you're actually listening without interrupting. It's never too late for adults to seek help for ADHD and find the right treatment plan. Get information at adultadhdisreal.com and take an ADHD self-screener. Talk to your doctor. The right treatment plan can help control your symptoms so you can stay focused and organized, get things done at home and work, and help improve relationships. Visit adultadhdisreal.com to learn more about adult ADHD. Don't let ADHD prevent you from achieving your goals. I haven't.
Inspired by Ewan Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
Hey America, we are your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
Enroll! So listen to me, a talking pug, you see. If you get health insurance, preventive care is now free.
So sweet. You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options. That's getcoveredamerica.org. Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
We all know Goodwill. But did you know when you donate stuff to Goodwill, you help provide job training for people right here in your community? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to KC Cares, the voice for the nonprofit community. I'm Ruth Bombigas.
And I'm Bobby Keys.
Almost forgot what I was going to say.
Well, we got so many. We got so many nonprofits we've been talking to.
Yeah, we've got.
And then it's not like you get starstruck or anything, but we got stars in the room.
We got stars.
We
got Bobby Keys in the room, yeah. And we've got Sterling on the board, and we have other people too. We have one of my very favorite peeps in the world.
I think it's pretty much one of Kansas City's favorite peeps in the world.
Yeah, people don't care if it's mine, but
don't you love the way they're talking about
love
you?
Love it, Will. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me, Ruth.
And I have a new favorite peep in Melissa Edman, who is bereavement coordinator with St. Luke's Home Care and Hospice. And that other voice you heard is none other than Will Shields. Pro Football Hall of Fame, Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame, Nebraska Hall of Fame, College Hall of Fame. No, not an old guy at all.
Old guy in the neighborhood.
A skinny guy.
Nutritarian.
Yeah.
And we'll have to dive into that because I'm not exactly sure what that is.
I'm going to look it up.
Will has actually two foundations, but Will to Succeed is what we're talking about today. Yes. And a really cool partnership with St. Luke's for some events that are coming up in the community. Around health, around various aspects of health. So let's dive in first with you, Will. You've got a Will Week coming up in October.
Yeah, the Week of the Wills.
That's Week of the Wills.
So, will you come out and help us? Will you help us get things done? So that'll make it really good. The first event will be a watch party. Basically, what I'm doing is hosting a watch party. It's going to be on the 18th. which is the care, and it's going to be in support of Care Beyond the Boulevard. And what we're going to do is sit around and talk trash about the Chiefs as they play the game. So I can sit here and commentate and tell you, okay, this guy's doing this guy's doing that kind of stuff. And so it's a fundraiser for Care Beyond the Boulevard, which works with homeless. And basically they went and got a big truck and they put it together, and it's medical staff. And they go out and they do medical things for everyone, like 2 or 3 times a week, for the homeless in the Kansas City area.
That's awesome.
And so then the next morning I get up and I get to work with this lovely lady next to me.
There you go.
Helping kids understand different things as far as when they're grieving, when they've lost somebody that's close to them in their lives that's been very influential, important to them, and taught them a lot. It's really hard for us to get those feelings out, those emotions, and to understand exactly what they meant to you and what they mean to you, and also to say it's okay. It's all right for you to go through those facets, but I bet you I won't take your thunder because you're the expert at it. I'm just the novice learning as we go.
There you go. Thanks, Will. Like Will said, children hurt. If children if children can love, they can grieve. And oftentimes children who experience a loss through death, they don't know how to process their feelings, and they look around for the adults to help them. And sometimes the adults are just not able. So sometimes we need to step in and show them the way and show them what it means to grieve or mourn in a healthy way.
How do you do that? How does your organization in particular do that? I would think it'd be so hard to sit down with a child, especially if you are in the grieving process as well.
Exactly. That's it. Well, like you said, Ruth, I serve out of the hospice house in Midtown, and we are under St. Luke's Health System. We're under that umbrella at 35th and Summit. We see families every day, patients that have young children that have a terminal illness. And oftentimes families will come in with small children and they'll say, we haven't really explained the dying process. We haven't really told our child that mom is dying, but if they're 3 years old, 5 years old, there's an age-appropriate way to deliver that message. So we at St. Luke's feel passionately about treating that mental health, to help and walk alongside families that are grieving and going through possibly the hardest time of their life. And when it involves kids, believe me, it hits your heart. That's a tough thing to do, but it just came to us. We offer Camp Express Yourself, which is offered in June, and that is a great camp. It's held out in Tonganoxie, and it serves kids that have experienced death, but also any other kind of loss, divorce, move, change of school. But this Willpower Camp is specific to death for ages 6 to 18. And Will, like myself, feels passionately about helping children. Kids make healthy adults.
Okay, so how did the two of you get together, though? How did this
guy named Marty Raskin basically came in, and I've been talking to Marty for a while. We were at a golf tournament, and he was like, "Okay, Will, what do you do?" And I was explaining all the things I different do, health, wellness, all of that. And then I had him come over and try some of my apparatuses and help him get healthier the best we could. And then he said, "You know what? I do different things." He was like, "Will you be available every once in a while if I call you up to come down and to, sit with somebody, talk to somebody, be a part of this?" And I was like, "Well, okay, let's see what happens." He was like, "Well, I'll bring you down and have you visit." So I came down and visit, and we sort of brought this project together, health and wellness and mental health at the same time. Let's get some activity out of you, get some of that energy out, and then let you settle in and understand the process that you're going through. And so that's when we sort of brainchild the willpower piece of it together to help each one of these children get to a better place, just a little bit here and there. We know it's not going to happen in one day, but hopefully to give you those ideas and different things to help you work through the grieving process.
So at the camp on that Friday, how do you do that? I mean, how do you have kids out there playing, then just you all of a sudden sit down and say, "Okay, let's talk"?
No, because that would be a bummer, Ruth.
Yes, I would think that would be, but
no, it's going to be great.
We're
going to have people that are going to be greeting these kids literally at the doorway of Will's gym and inviting them in. We're going to have a support dog. We're going to have.
Is it your dog?
No, not my dogs. My dogs are too wild and crazy.
They support him.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But great volunteers. Many of them are on staff with St. Luke's Hospice. Trained volunteers, grief experts, people that know how to relate to kids, first of all, but to bring them in, and they're going to be in age-appropriate groups. We're not going to put a 6-year-old with a 16-year-old. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be in age-appropriate groups. They're going to go throughout the gym. There's 6 designated stations. Mm-hmm. For example, how many kids have really strapped on a pair of boxing gloves and had the opportunity to box, right?
Ooh, cool.
So when we go in and we do that, we're just going to weave a grief lesson in, and we're going to talk about what it means to have anger. And you know what? Sometimes when people die, we get angry. We cry, but we get angry. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk about letting out those feelings in a healthy way. Hitting your brother is not good, but hitting a boxing bag, that's a good thing. So we're going to have lessons throughout the day. They're going to get grief education, but it's going to be gentle and age appropriate, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to laugh. And the really cool thing, or my hope and prayer for this, is that these kids will look around and they'll think, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only person who's lost a mom or a dad or a sister or a brother, because we say, oh, I know how you feel, but we really don't, right? But they can look around the room and see that they're not alone, and hopefully that'll give them some strength.
That's handling that situation is obviously difficult for most people, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to communicating, I'm curious about when it comes to little boys and little girls. Like, how do they interpret the message differently? Do they because we all communicate differently, right?
Exactly.
I have 4 little girls,
right.
or 4, not little,
right.
one's 20s, but
yeah.
So they just communicate differently.
Exactly.
So when it comes to little boys and little girls, how do they process it differently?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I raise boys, so
Okay,
I get
okay.
that. Yeah, I'm on the opposite side of the fence here. Comes to find out, boys, I don't know if you know this, but little boys don't really like to talk about their feelings.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know
right,
that.
Yeah.
Even big boys.
Exactly. Big boys can be that way.
We were told not to show your
Exactly.
feelings.
Yeah.
Don't cry. Don't
Keep
show
that
Exactly.
up. Keep that in your mind.
Yeah.
Don't
Keep
do
a
it.
stiff
Don't
upper
show
lip.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know what? We don't do that. We believe in getting those feelings out, talking about it. And you'd be surprised what kids will talk about if you give them a safe place to do it with a safe audience. Yeah. And, I'm not afraid to use the D word. People die. People get diseases. People get cancer. So how we talk to them is honestly and openly, but again, being age appropriate. And like I said, just that concept of love, once your heart stops beating, where does that person go? Yeah. And I won't go into my big spiel, but love remains, right? And just because you can't see your parent or your grandparent or your dog, the love doesn't go away. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff.
That's a good message.
Yeah.
Are we getting any better about using the D word and dealing with it?
I think that we are as a society, but I think we have a long way to go. And I just encourage, that's why, I feel so blessed that we're going to do this camp with Will. We need to get the word out there, and we need to use the appropriate terms. We need to talk about what happens at a funeral. We need to prepare kids. I know a lot of broken children, and I think that things could be made better for them in the mental health arena if we talked about it. And don't keep things a secret, because you know what they imagine in their head is probably far worse than reality.
Well, maybe we need to be equipping the parents.
We do
better. So what are some of the things that you all do then for the bigger kids?
Yeah, well, and that's sort of my role at St. Luke's Hospice, is working with not only the patients. We do at the hospice house, it's end-of-life care. But St. Luke's Hospice, we take care of the people that choose or are able to be in their home for end of life. But either way, they're getting a support staff that includes bereavement or grief. And we meet with them, we talk openly. And every day, sort of my office door is a revolving door of hurt people that are trying to function and carry on with life, raise children, raise families, but they have a loved one dying down the hall. And kind of my same drill is for adults as it is for kids, actually.
And so are these services that you provide free of charge? Are they?
Yes. Bereavement care.
Wow.
Yeah. St. Luke's Hospice provides bereavement services for 13 months after the death of a loved one. Okay. So we target sort of a bereaved person for a family who is going to be my contact. That's 13 months of care. They're going to get mailings. They're going to get phone calls. They can come see me by appointment, and it's free. Now, my services also extend to the community. I get people that call me and say, I hear you have a decent grief program. What does it take? Do you take insurance? You can just call me and make an appointment. I had a police officer that came through the front door about 2 years ago, and she was in uniform. She asked to speak with me, and she said, I had a loss 10 years ago, and I never dealt with it. And she said, I patrol this neighborhood, and I see cars coming in and out. Can you help me? Can we talk about what happened? And so we did. It makes a difference, I think, to talk about it.
Absolutely. And the fact that you're saying those services are free, I think there probably is hesitation. If you've gone through something with a loved one and you've had medical and just life. Maybe the last thing I can't cope with it, but I can't afford another
Right. But
expense.
Again, St. Luke's Health System, we believe in that, and we believe in treating the whole person. Now, there is, a small charge for Willpower Camp, but I do want to reiterate that scholarship money is available, okay? So Will and I feel passionately that we don't want a kid to miss an opportunity because
they can't afford it.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that everybody understands we'll find a way to get your kid to camp if they choose to be there.
Absolutely.
So where is the best place for people to get details on camp and either register or call, etc.?
Yeah, they can go to the St. Luke's website. They can also call me directly at 816-502-8917, and that phone rings in my office, and I'll answer.
That's always good.
Yeah.
The direct line.
That's fabulous. Well, I'm sure camp will go swimmingly.
Yeah.
They're
Very
probably
nice.
not swimming.
Good pun.
And hopefully this is the first of annual
I hope so.
Willpower camps.
We hope so.
Yeah.
Will, why is, obviously you've been a professional athlete, you've been an athlete for most of your life. Why is continuing to help others with that health and wellness journey important to you?
Well, I think anytime you have health and wellness, I think it's the key to anything. For me, it was the key to performance. Performing at a high level, you start looking at the mental and physical piece of it. And then when you retire, you watch as your mind and body starts to deteriorate a little bit here and there. So you're trying to find those avenues to get back on top again. And I think we need to understand that our health is the only one we have. And we have to take it a lot more serious than we really do right now. And I think that's where we're missing that connection, that the better you feel, the better you interact, the better you can grow. And that's where we're trying to get everybody to understand is that what you eat is what your body will expel back out the other end, and you'll feel better as you go across. And so those are the things that you really love about it. And then that next day on Saturday, we have a health fair that we're doing at Kansas City Community College, and that is for people on Medicare, Medicaid, to let them know that Aetna Insurance has an opportunity for them to get better care across the board and how to utilize all of the little avenues that they have, even to where they can actually find rides for you to get to places that you need to get the best care. So I'm trying to cover all the bases from the top to the bottom so that everybody knows that there is something you can do to make yourself feel better on a day-to-day basis, and you're not by yourself.
And then they can always check it out at 68 Inside Sports as well.
Always.
And see the physical metamorphosis that Will has gone through.
But all of this stuff, we'll have it on the Will to Succeed, and it's willtosucceed.org. And I'll make sure I'll update the website when I leave here to make sure that you have the right connection so that you just go on, click through, and we'll get you set up with one of these 3 great events.
Thank you both for being here, and thank you for listening to Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit digital resource, produced by Charitable Communications, also a 501c3 nonprofit. Casey Cares is generously underwritten by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation.
Casey Cares podcasts are available at caseycaresonline.org. To be guest on Casey Cares or for underwriting opportunities, visit caseycaresonline.org and click on that button. Spread the love and find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Casey Cares Online. That's how you search. Thanks for listening to us, Casey Cares, on ESPN, 1510 AM and 94.5 FM.
ESPN Kansas City is KCTE Independence and K233 DM Raytown, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM.